Admiral Doyen Kang stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the stars blur past the windows. He had been traveling through space for 3 days, returning from a peaceful mission to the outer colonies. Earth had joined the Galactic Council only 3 months ago, and everything seemed perfect. Humanity finally had friends among the stars. His communication officer suddenly turned pale. "Admiral, we're receiving a distress signal from New Busan Colony." Doyen felt his stomach drop. "Put it through." The speakers crackled with screams and explosions. A woman's voice cut through the chaos. "They're burning everything. The council ships. They're killing everyone. Please, someone help us." The signal died. Doyen grabbed the armrest of his chair. "Maximum speed to New Busan. Now!" His second officer checked the scanners. "Sir, we're detecting similar distress calls from Harmony Station and Terra Nova. 3 colonies, all under attack at the same time. This was not an accident." Dr. Hannah Park ran onto the bridge, her face wet with tears. Her sister lived on Harmony Station. "What's happening? Why would the council attack us?" Doyen had no answer. He could only watch as his ships raced toward New Busan, knowing they would arrive too late. When they finally reached the colony, Doyen saw hell. The beautiful domed cities were shattered glass and twisted metal. Fires burned across the surface. Ships bearing the council's symbol circled above like vultures, making sure nothing survived. "Life signs?" Doyen asked quietly. The scanner officer shook his head. "None, sir. 400,000 people lived here. Now, nothing." Hannah collapsed into a chair, sobbing. Her sister was dead. Everyone was dead. The council fleet noticed Doyen's ships and simply left. They did not even try to explain. They just flew away, their work complete. Doyen sent teams to the surface, but they found only bodies and ruins. The attack had been thorough and cruel. Even the children's section of the colony was destroyed. This was not a military strike. This was murder. Reports came from the other colonies. Harmony Station, 800,000 dead. Terra Nova, 3 million dead. In total, 4.2 million humans had been killed in less than 6 hours. Back on Earth, Ambassador Nari Choi received a message from the Galactic Council. She opened it with shaking hands, hoping for an explanation or an apology. Instead, she found an ultimatum. The message was simple and cold. It said that humanity was a developmental threat to galactic peace. Earth's technology was advancing too quickly. Humans were too aggressive, too ambitious, too dangerous. The Council had decided to act before humanity became unstoppable. Earth had 30 days to surrender. They must destroy all military ships, hand over all advanced technology, and accept permanent monitoring by Council forces. Earth would become a protected species, meaning they would never be allowed to leave their own solar system again. If Earth refused, the Council would return with enough ships to destroy the entire planet. Nari read the message 3 times, unable to believe what she was seeing. The Council had invited Earth to join them. Earth had celebrated. Humans had dreamed of a peaceful future among the stars. And now this. She called an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. President Hyun Cho listened to her report with a stone face. "They killed 4 million people as a warning," he said slowly. "And now they want us to surrender or die." "That is correct, Mr. President," Nari replied. The room fell silent. Earth's military commanders, scientists, and politicians all looked at each other. Some wanted to surrender. What choice did they have? The Council had thousands of worlds and millions of ships. Earth was just one planet. But General Minho Kwon stood up. "No," he said firmly. "We don't surrender to murderers." Admiral Doyen Kang's face appeared on the screen. He was still at New Busan, standing among the ruins. Behind him, recovery teams were collecting bodies. "I have seen what they did here," Doyen said. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with rage. They didn't just attack military targets. They killed families. They killed children. They burned hospitals and schools. He picked up a small toy from the ground. It was a stuffed bear, scorched and torn. This belonged to someone's child, he continued. A child who will never grow up because the council decided we were inconvenient. Doyen looked directly into the camera. Mr. President, the council thinks we will be afraid. They think we will bow down and accept chains. But they made a mistake. What mistake? President Cho asked. They let some of us survive, Doyen said. They should have killed us all when they had the chance, because now we know what they are. They are not peacekeepers. They are bullies who murder anyone they fear. Dr. Hana Park appeared beside Doyen. Her tears had dried, replaced by cold determination. I've been analyzing the attack patterns, she said. This was planned before we even joined the council. They always intended to do this. The invitation was a trap. The meeting room erupted in anger. Earth's leaders shouted and argued. Some still wanted peace, others demanded war. President Cho raised his hand for silence. We will send a response to the council, he said. We will tell them that Earth rejects their ultimatum, and then we will prepare. Prepare for what? Someone asked. We cannot win against the entire council. Perhaps not, the president said, but we can make them regret ever threatening us. Admiral Doyen Kang returned to his ship and sent a message to every human military unit across the solar system. The message was short. They wanted us weak. They wanted us afraid. They killed our families to break our spirit, but they forgot something important about humans. We are most dangerous when we have nothing left to lose. They think we will surrender. Instead, we will show them what happens when you corner a predator. Prepare for war. Across Earth and its remaining colonies, millions of humans received the message. They had 30 days before the council fleet arrived. 30 days to decide humanity's fate. The countdown had begun. Earth became a planet at war. Every factory, every shipyard, every laboratory worked day and night. Humans had 30 days to prepare for the impossible. Commander Siwoo Bayek led Earth's intelligence division. His job was to learn everything about the Council's military. He spent days reviewing old data, looking for weaknesses. What he found changed everything. They're afraid of us, Siwoo told the military council, not because we're strong, because we learn too fast. He showed them the evidence. When Earth first got council technology, human scientists needed only 6 months to understand it. Most species took 10 years. When Earth received faster engines, humans improved them within weeks. The council had never seen anything like it. We adapt, Siwoo explained. We take their technology and make it better. That's why they attacked. They know that in 50 years, we would surpass them. General Minho Kwon smiled grimly. Then let's prove them right, in 30 days instead of 50 years. Dr. Yuna Song worked in a secret laboratory beneath the mountains. Before the attack, she had been studying peaceful uses of quantum energy. Now she was building weapons. The Council has rules for war, she explained to her team. They fight with honor. They avoid certain weapons because they consider them too cruel. Her assistant frowned. And we're going to use those weapons? No, Yuna said. We're going to invent new ones they never imagined. She showed them her designs. Bombs that could fold space and crush entire fleets. Drones that could think and adapt faster than any pilot. Mines that would hide in dimensions the Council didn't know existed. They want a civilized war, Yuna said. We'll give them chaos. Engineer Gina Yoon stood in Earth's largest shipyard, looking at hundreds of civilian vessels. Cargo ships, passenger liners, mining haulers, all useless in a war. Or were they? Strip out everything except engines and life support, she ordered her workers. Fill them with weapons and armor. Make them look civilian from the outside but deadly on the inside. Her team worked impossibly fast. They welded guns onto pleasure yachts. They turned cargo holds into missile bays. They disguised military destroyers as simple transport ships. The Ghost Fleet, Gina called it. Ships the Council doesn't know exist. She hid these vessels throughout the solar system, behind moons, inside asteroid fields, anywhere the Council wouldn't look. When the enemy arrived, they would find surprises waiting. Captain Junho Lee trained a special team of soldiers. These were not regular fighters. They were volunteers for the most dangerous mission possible. The Council fleet is gathering at the edge of our solar system, Junho told them. We're going to infiltrate their ships before they attack. His team stared at him. How? One soldier asked. In their own supply ships, Junho explained. The Council uses automated cargo vessels. We'll hide inside them and drift right into their fleet. Then we sabotage everything we can. It was a suicide mission. Everyone knew it. But every soldier volunteered anyway. They spent weeks practicing, learning to move silently, to disable alien systems, to survive in enemy territory. Junho knew most of them would die, but if they could cripple even part of the Council fleet, it would be worth it. Dr. Hannah Park made a discovery that gave humanity hope. She had been communicating secretly with aliens on Council worlds. Many of them were horrified by the attack on Earth's colonies. 2 species voted against the attack, Hannah reported. The Delphi and the Luminars. They tried to stop it but were outvoted. She had been sending them footage of the destroyed colonies, pictures of dead children, evidence of the massacre. These images were spreading across Council worlds, and public opinion was shifting. Some of them want to help us, Hannah said. They're sending us information about the Council fleet, ship positions, weapon capabilities, commander tactics. It wasn't much, but it was something. Earth was not completely alone. President Hyun Cho approved a plan called the Scattered Seed. If Earth fell, humanity would not end. 1,000 small ships launched in secret, each heading in a different direction. They carried frozen embryos, DNA samples, and all of human knowledge. These ships would fly for years, searching for distant worlds where humans could start again. Even if they destroy Earth, the president said, humans will survive somewhere, and someday we will return. Admiral Doyen Kang gathered his fleet commanders. They had every warship Earth possessed. It looked impressive until Doyen showed them the numbers. Earth had 400 ships. The Council was bringing 20,000. The room went silent. We cannot fight them ship to ship, Doyen said. We will lose, so we won't fight fair. He explained his strategy. They would not defend. They would attack first. They would use tricks and traps. They would break every rule of civilized warfare. They expect us to wait here and try to protect Earth, Doyen continued. Instead, we'll meet them halfway and hit them before they're ready. His officers looked uncertain. This was madness. Sir, one captain said carefully, this plan will cost many lives. Our lives. Doyen nodded. I know, but it will cost them more. And when this is over, they will remember that humanity does not surrender. Pilot Taiyang O led Earth's fighter squadrons. He was the best pilot in the fleet, and he knew his role in the coming battle. We're the first wave, he told his pilots. We fly ahead of the main fleet in ships that look like civilian evacuation craft. The Council will think we're refugees running away. And then? A young pilot asked. Then we transform, Taeyang said with a cold smile. Every evacuation ship is really a bomb covered in weapons. We get close. Then we show them what we really are. It was another suicide mission. The pilots knew they probably wouldn't survive, but they had all lost someone in the colony attacks. They wanted revenge. The 30 days passed quickly. Earth was as ready as it could be. The factories had built thousands of drones. The laboratories had created terrible new weapons. The shipyards had prepared the Ghost Fleet. Soldiers were in position, waiting. Dr. Yuna Song activated her quantum bombs and sent them to the edge of the solar system. They floated invisibly in space, waiting for the Council fleet. Captain Junho Lee and his team climbed into supply containers and launched toward the enemy. They would arrive days before the main attack. Admiral Doyun Kang stood on his bridge one last time, looking at Earth through the window. It was beautiful. Blue and white and green. Home. "All ships report ready," his officer said. Doyun took a deep breath. "Then let's teach the Council a lesson. Send the message to all units. Today we show them that humans don't forgive. We don't forget. And we never surrender." The fleet moved forward, leaving Earth behind. They were outnumbered 50-1. By all logic, they should lose. But the Council had never fought humans before. They didn't understand what humans become when everything is taken from them. The Council was about to learn. The Council fleet gathered at the edge of Earth's solar system. 20,000 warships from 100 different worlds. It was the largest military force ever assembled. Commander Vosh of the Solvath species stood on his flagship, confident and proud. This would be easy. Earth had only a few hundred ships. The humans would see the Council armada and surrender immediately. "Begin the advance toward Earth," Vosh ordered. "Maintain formation. This will be over in hours." But something was wrong. Deep inside Vosh's ship, hidden in a cargo container, Captain Junho Lee and his team had been waiting for 3 days. They had barely eaten or slept. Now it was time. "All teams, begin sabotage," Junho whispered into his radio. Across the Council fleet, hidden human soldiers emerged from their hiding places. They moved quickly through the ships, placing explosives and cutting critical wires. The Council crew had no idea enemies were already aboard. Junho's team reached the engine room of Vosh's flagship. They planted bombs carefully, setting timers for exactly 1 hour. "Mission complete," Junho reported. "All teams retreat to escape pods." But alerts were sounding throughout the fleet. Some of the human teams had been discovered. Fights broke out in the corridors of Council ships. Junho's team ran for the escape pods, but Council soldiers blocked their path. There was a brief, violent fight. 2 of Junho's men died, but they cleared the way. "Go, go, go!" Junho shouted, pushing his remaining soldiers into the pod. He jumped in last as enemy fire struck the walls around them. The pod launched into space just as explosions began tearing through the Council flagship. Admiral Doyun Kang watched from his command ship as the Council fleet suddenly erupted in chaos. Explosions blossomed across dozens of vessels. Some ships collided with others. The perfect formation collapsed into disorder. "Now," Doyun said calmly, "activate the quantum bombs." Dr. Yuna Song's weapons had been floating silently in space for days. Now they activated. Reality itself seemed to crack around the Council fleet. Space folded and twisted. Entire sections of the armada were pulled into dimensional tiers and crushed out of existence. In seconds, 2,000 Council ships simply vanished. "All ships, full attack!" Doyun ordered. Earth's fleet burst from behind Jupiter's moons, engines blazing. They had been hiding there for hours, waiting for this moment. Pilot Taeyang Oh led the first wave. His squadron flew in formation, their ships broadcasting civilian distress signals. They looked like scared refugees fleeing from Earth. The Council ships, already confused by the sabotage and quantum bombs, saw what looked like helpless civilians. Their programming made them hesitate. They were not supposed to fire on civilian vessels. That hesitation cost them everything. Taeyang's squadron dropped their disguises. The civilian ships transformed, armor plates sliding open to reveal weapons. Missiles, lasers, and plasma cannons emerged. "Light them up," Taeyang shouted. The squadron opened fire at point-blank range, tearing into the Council's forward line. Ships exploded. Others spun out of control. The Council had never seen anything like this. Then Taiyang's ships did something even more shocking. They flew directly into Council vessels, ramming them at high speed. The pilots ejected at the last second, but their ships became kinetic missiles. The Council forces were paralyzed with horror. What kind of species used their own ships as weapons? What kind of warriors were willing to die just to take enemies with them? Strategist Yunji Han coordinated the attack from Earth. She had studied every Council species, learning how they thought and fought. She knew their traditions, their rules, their weaknesses. "Target the command ships first," she ordered. "Cut off their leadership." Earth's weapons were precise and brutal. They didn't waste time on small vessels. They went straight for the ships carrying admirals and generals. Beams of concentrated energy pierced through shields and armor. Council commanders died before they could issue orders. The Council fleet tried to reorganize, but they were fighting in a way they had never experienced. Earth's ships didn't stay in formation. They didn't follow rules. They attacked from every direction, using tactics that seemed insane. Some Earth ships pretended to be damaged, drifting helplessly. When Council vessels approached to capture them, the damaged ships would explode, taking their would-be captors with them. Other Earth ships hid inside debris fields, waiting until Council vessels passed by, then striking from behind. The Ghost Fleet emerged from its hiding places. Hundreds of ships that the Council didn't know existed suddenly appeared. These converted civilian vessels looked harmless, but fought like warships. Engineer Gina Yoon watched her creations tear through the Council ranks. A former passenger liner, now bristling with missiles, destroyed 3 enemy cruisers. A cargo hauler, converted into a carrier, launched wave after wave of attack drones. The Council was learning a terrible lesson. Humans could turn anything into a weapon. 6 hours into the battle, Commander Vosh finally regained control of what remained of his fleet. More than 8,000 ships were gone. His flagship was crippled. The humans had lost fewer than 100 vessels. "This is impossible," Vosh said, staring at the tactical display. "They're just one species, one world." His second officer looked terrified. "Sir, they're not fighting like any species we know. They have no honor, no restraint. They fight like animals." Vosh made a decision. "All ships, retreat. Fall back to the outer system." But Admiral Doyen Kang was not finished. "Broadcast this message to every Council ship," Doyen ordered, "and make sure it reaches every Council world." The screens on every Council vessel lit up. They showed footage from the colony attacks: dead children, burned hospitals, families killed in their homes. Then Doyen's face appeared. "You came to our worlds and murdered our people," he said quietly. "You killed our children and told us to surrender. You expected us to be afraid." He leaned closer to the camera. "We are not afraid. We are angry. And now we're coming for you. You wanted to destroy humanity. You've only made us stronger. You wanted to teach us a lesson. Instead, we'll teach you one. Never threaten Earth again." The Council fleet retreated in disorder, running back toward their own territory. They left behind thousands of destroyed ships and tens of thousands of dead. Earth had won the first battle, but Doyen knew the war was just beginning. "Send scouts after them," he ordered. "I want to know where they're going, because we're going to follow." His officers looked shocked. "Sir, you mean to pursue them?" "They came to our home," Doyen said coldly. "Now we're going to theirs. We're going to make sure every species in the Council remembers what happens when you attack humanity." Behind him, through the window, Earth gleamed peacefully in the distance. 4 million humans had died to teach the Council fear. Now the Council would learn about revenge. 3 months had passed since the battle at Earth. The galaxy had changed. Admiral Doyen Kang's fleet moved through Council space like a hunting pack. They appeared without warning, struck military targets, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. Every week brought news of another Council defeat. The Council had expected Earth to celebrate its victory and stay home. Instead, humanity was coming for revenge. Captain Min Jae-shin commanded the stealth carrier, Indomitable. His ship could hide from almost any scanner. He used this advantage to terrorize Council worlds. His mission today was simple but terrifying. He positioned his ship in orbit above the Solvath homeworld, hidden from all sensors. Then he broadcast a message. "People of Solvath," the message said, "human ships are above your planet right now. You cannot see us, but we can see you. We could destroy your cities in minutes. Your families would die, just like ours did." Panic spread across the Solvath homeworld. Air raid sirens wailed. People ran to shelters. The military scrambled every ship they had, searching desperately for the invisible human vessel. But Min Jae did not attack. After an hour, he broadcast again. "We could have killed millions. We chose not to. Remember this mercy. Remember that we could have done to you what you did to us. But we are not like you." Then the Indomitable disappeared, leaving the Solvath terrified and humiliated. Min Jae repeated this at every major council world. He proved that Earth could strike anywhere, anytime. The psychological effect was devastating. Council citizens lived in constant fear. Dr. Sora Lim worked in a laboratory ship, developing weapons that shocked even her own people. She had created viruses that targeted specific alien species, a disease that would kill only Solvath, another that affected only Vryn. President Hyun Cho called her to Earth. "Sora, please tell me you're not actually planning to use these weapons." "No, sir," Sora replied. "I'm planning to show them we have these weapons, then destroy them publicly." She broadcast her research to every council world. She showed them exactly how the viruses worked. She proved that humanity could commit genocide against specific species while leaving everyone else untouched. Then, on live transmission, she incinerated every sample. "We could have killed your entire species," she said to the watching galaxy. "We had the power. We had the reason. But we chose not to. Remember that Earth had mercy when you had none." The message was clear. Humanity was more advanced and more dangerous than the Council had imagined. But humans chose restraint. That choice made them even more terrifying. General Minho Kwan led the blockade of Solvath space. No ships in or out, no trade, no supplies. Within weeks, the Solvath economy began to collapse. The Vryn tried to break the blockade with their entire fleet. The battle lasted 6 hours. Human ships used new tactics the Vryn had never seen, drones that learned and adapted during the fight, weapons that anticipated enemy movements, ships that coordinated perfectly without any communication the Vryn could detect. The Vryn lost 70% of their fleet. The survivors retreated and never challenged Earth again. Ambassador Nari Choi worked behind the scenes, dividing the Council from within. She met secretly with the Delphi and Luminars, the species who had opposed the attack on Earth. "Help us create a new council," Nari urged them. "One based on justice, not fear." The Delphi ambassador agreed. "What you did to our colonies was wrong. Many of us knew it then. We were too afraid to speak up." "Then speak up now," Nari said. "Join us. Help us build something better." A split formed in the council. The Reformed Council believed Earth deserved justice. The Old Council, led by the Solvath and Vryn, wanted to crush humanity before it was too late. But it was already too late. Across council space, oppressed species saw humanity's victories and found hope. If Earth could stand against the council, maybe they could too. Rebellions began on a dozen worlds. Species that had been conquered centuries ago suddenly demanded freedom. Earth didn't start these rebellions, but human ships appeared to help. General Kwan's Marines landed on these worlds, bringing weapons and training. "Fight for your freedom," he told them. "We'll make sure the Council can't stop you." The Council was fracturing. Their military was divided, their economy was failing, and humans were everywhere, turning the galaxy against them. Commander Vosh of the Solvath High Command made a desperate decision. If they couldn't defeat Earth through normal warfare, they would use the ultimate weapon. The Council had banned planet-killer weapons centuries ago. They were considered too horrible to use. But Vosh was desperate. In secret, Solvath scientists built a massive weapon in deep space. It used focused gravity to crush an entire planet into a black hole. The weapon was slow, requiring weeks to charge, but unstoppable once activated. Vosh aimed it at Earth. Commander Siwoo Beck's intelligence network discovered the weapon by accident. One of his agents on a Solvath world noticed massive energy consumption at a hidden facility. When Siwoo investigated, he found blueprints and calculations. The weapon was already charging. It would be ready to fire in 14 days. If it fired, Earth would be destroyed. Everything humanity had fought for would end. Siwoo took the information directly to President Hyun Cho. The president's face went pale as he read the report. "Can we stop it?" the president asked. "Not in 14 days," Siwoo replied. "The weapon is too far away and too well protected." "Then Earth is doomed?" Siwoo shook his head slowly. "Not if we're willing to do something terrible." He explained his plan. It was brutal and ruthless. It would change everything. But it might be the only way to save Earth. President Cho sat in silence for a long time. Finally, he spoke. "Contact Admiral Kang. Tell him to prepare for the final operation. And may whatever gods exist forgive us for what we're about to do." Admiral Doyen Kong received his orders and gathered his commanders. Captain Junho Lee, Dr. Yuna Song, Engineer Gina Yoon, Pilot Taeyang Oh, and everyone else who had fought so hard. "The Council has built a weapon to destroy Earth," Doyen told them. "We have two choices: surrender and let them win, or strike so hard they'll never threaten anyone again." He showed them the plan. It was insane, impossible, horrifying, and it was humanity's only chance. "We've fought for 3 months," Doyen continued. "We've shown them we can hurt them. Now we have to show them we can end them. We have to make the Council so afraid of humanity that they'll never attack anyone again." Captain Junho Lee stood up. "When do we begin?" "Tomorrow," Doyen said. "We're going to the Solvath homeworld, and we're going to give them one last chance to surrender." "And if they refuse?" someone asked. Doyen's expression was hard as stone. "Then we show them what happens when you threaten Earth. We show them that humanity's mercy has limits, and we make sure the galaxy never forgets." The fleet prepared for the final mission. Everyone knew this would decide everything. Either humanity would secure its future, or Earth would die in 14 days. The countdown had begun again. But this time, the Council would be the ones afraid. Captain Junho Lee and 50 volunteers flew toward the Solvath homeworld in a small, unmarked ship. They knew this was a one-way mission. Most of them would probably die, but they went anyway. Their ship slipped through Solvath defenses and landed in the capital city at night. Junho's team moved through the streets like ghosts. They had one target, the planetary government building. Inside, the Solvath High Command was meeting, discussing their planet-killer weapon. In 14 days, Earth would be destroyed. They were celebrating early. Junho's team broke into the building and fought their way to the command chamber. Alarms screamed. Solvath soldiers rushed to stop them. The firefight was brutal and short. When the smoke cleared, Junho stood in the command chamber, his weapon pointed at Commander Vosh. "You have one chance," Junho said coldly. "Surrender your leadership and deactivate the planet killer, or your world dies in 24 hours. Vosh laughed. "You're bluffing. You have 50 soldiers. We have billions. You cannot threaten us." Junho smiled. "I'm not threatening you. Earth is." At that moment, every screen in the Solvath capital lit up. Admiral Doyun Kang's face appeared. "People of the Council," Doyun began, "for 3 months we have shown you mercy. We could have destroyed your civilian populations. We chose not to. We could have used biological weapons. We chose not to. We gave you chances to make peace." He paused, his expression hardening. "Now you've built a weapon to destroy Earth. You've made your choice, so now we make ours." Dr. Yuna Song's face appeared beside Do-Yun's. Behind her, holographic displays showed technical readouts. "For the past month, Earth has been positioning quantum bombs in orbit around every major council world," Yuna explained. 43 planets, billions of people. "We can destroy all of them simultaneously." The galaxy went silent. Every species, every government, every citizen watched in horror. "You're insane!" Vosh shouted. "You wouldn't kill billions!" "You killed millions of ours," Doyun replied. "And you were going to kill billions more. Why should we show you mercy you never showed us?" Commander Siwoo Bayek's intelligence had positioned the bombs perfectly. They were invisible to council scanners, untraceable, unstoppable. President Hyan Cho appeared on the broadcast. His voice was tired but firm. "We don't want this," he said. "We never wanted war. We wanted to join you in peace. But you murdered our people, you tried to enslave us, and now you're trying to destroy our home." He looked directly into the camera. "We are giving you one choice. The Solvath leadership surrenders. The planet killer is destroyed, the council dissolves peacefully, or we activate the bombs and 43 worlds die." Vosh stared at the screen, his mind racing. "You're bluffing. Humans wouldn't commit genocide." Admiral Doyun Kang's expression didn't change. "Test us." For 10 seconds, nothing happened. Then Doyun gave an order. "Destroy the first target." 3 Solvath colony worlds that had been evacuated months ago suddenly exploded. The quantum bombs activated, folding space until the planets collapsed into nothing. It took less than 10 minutes. 3 worlds ceased to exist. "Those were empty," Doyun said. "The next ones won't be. You have 24 hours to surrender, or we start with your homeworld." The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, panic erupted. Council species that had supported the war suddenly demanded peace. Citizens protested in the streets. Governments that had stood with the Solvath now abandoned them. The Reformed Council, led by Ambassador Nari Choi and the Delphi, sent a message to Earth. "We will support humanity's demands. The old council must end." Vosh sat in his command chamber, surrounded by Junho's soldiers, watching his civilization collapse. In 24 hours, Earth would destroy his homeworld unless he surrendered. He had called humanity's bluff. He had been wrong. "We surrender," Vosh said quietly. Junho lowered his weapon. "Then deactivate the planet killer. Now." The weapon was shut down with 1 hour to spare. Vosh and the entire Solvath High Command were arrested. They would stand trial for their crimes. The galaxy held its breath as Earth's deadline passed. The bombs didn't activate. Doyun had kept his word. Surrender meant survival. 3 weeks later, representatives from every council species gathered on a neutral station. Ambassador Nari Choi stood before them. "The old council is finished," she announced. "It was built on fear and oppression. We will create something better, a democratic galactic assembly where every species has a voice, where strength protects the weak instead of exploiting them." Dr. Hannah Park helped write the new charter. It included protections for smaller species, rules against aggressive warfare, and trials for those who committed war crimes. The Solvath and Vryn leadership faced justice. Some were imprisoned, others were exiled. Their species would be allowed to remain in the new assembly, but under strict observation. Earth gained significant power in the new government. Humanity had earned it through sacrifice and strength. But President Hyun Cho used that power carefully. "We don't want to rule the galaxy," he said. "We just want to make sure no one can do to others what was done to us." Admiral Do Yun Kong retired from military service. He had done his duty. Earth was safe. The colonies that had been destroyed would never be forgotten, but they would be avenged. He visited the memorial station that orbited Earth. 4.2 million names carved into walls of crystal. Every person who had died in the colony attacks. Men, women, children, all remembered. Doyen placed his hand on the wall and closed his eyes. "We kept our promise," he whispered. "We showed them what happens when you threaten humanity. And we made sure it never happens again." 50 years later, the galaxy was at peace. The Democratic Galactic Assembly had grown strong. Species that had once been enemies now worked together. Earth had become known as the protector species. When the Assembly needed military force to stop tyrants or rescue oppressed populations, human ships answered the call. The story of the colony attacks and Earth's revenge was taught in every school across the galaxy. It was a reminder that mercy was not weakness, but it also had limits. Young aliens learned about Admiral Do Yun Kong, who had turned grief into determination, about Captain Junho Lee, who risked everything for justice, about Dr. Yuna Song, who created terrible weapons but chose not to use them. They learned that humanity had been ruthless when necessary, but never cruel. Strong when threatened, but peaceful when possible. Capable of terrible violence, but always choosing to build rather than destroy when given the choice. And they learned the most important lesson: never mistake kindness for weakness. Humans would extend their hand in friendship to anyone, but if you slapped that hand away and threatened their families, you would learn why Earth had survived every challenge in its history. The galaxy had underestimated humanity once. It would never make that mistake again. On Earth, Ambassador Nari Choi gave a speech to a gathering of young diplomats. "We showed the galaxy our strength," she told them. "We proved we could destroy our enemies, but our real victory was showing we didn't have to. We chose justice over revenge. We chose building over destroying." She smiled at the young faces watching her. "That is what makes humanity special. Not our weapons or our tactics, but our ability to be ruthless when we must and merciful when we can. Remember that. The galaxy is watching us. Let's show them what humans can really do when we work together." Above Earth, the memorial station gleamed in the sunlight. 4.2 million names, never forgotten. And throughout the galaxy, peace reigned, a peace built on the ashes of war. A peace that would last because everyone remembered what happened when you threatened Earth. Humanity's ruthless revenge had indeed left the Galactic Council in shock, but it had also created something better, something worth fighting for. The future was bright, and it belonged to everyone.